I'm Mark. I'm one of the founders of Parsec. Thanks for coming out today. I'm going to share with you 6 things that I want you to remember. So we've now run campaigns with each of the 6 big holding companies for clients and account teams who understand the value of consumer attention and the positive impact that it has on their brand. But we face an incredible uphill battle against institutional inertia and the ad tech infrastructure that supports the billions of dollars invested in propping up the CPM. After today, each of you who remain here will be the smartest person in the room on the topic of time-based advertising. So I want to arm you with these 6 things to remember about the downside of CPM, the upside of a time-based currency, and a glimpse into the path that we're headed down. So the worst thing about the CPM is that it's inconsistent. As a bunch of the other speakers mentioned today, it doesn't capture any information about the amount of attention captured either in duration or quality. Your ad might be the only one on the page, laid out in an elegant manner such that it doesn't annoy people with 30 to 40 seconds in the viewport, or it could be one of 35 in a slideshow page that is just on screen for 3 seconds. Both are counted identically as a viewable impression despite the variance in the amount of attention paid to both. So the second reason is because of that inconsistency in attention delivered, that's the root cause of audience leakage, I believe. Audience leakage is what happens when an advertiser can serve ads to the same people they've previously seen on premium sites elsewhere for cheaper. So Walt Mossberg recently told a story about an advertiser who bragged to him, "We're going to place ads there for a bit. We're going to drop cookies. We're going to figure out who your readers are, and then we're going to find other websites where they go that are way cheaper than your website." So this scares the crap out of publishers, and rightfully so, but for all the wrong reasons. Audience leakage is made possible by cookies, but it's not caused by them. Audience leakage is caused by a metric that prices products the same, but provides vastly inconsistent amounts of value. This is the CPM. Right? So if you think about the attention that's captured by a publisher as a large pie that they can cut up into impressions, it becomes obvious why ads are cheaper on some sites. These sites simply dilute the amount of attention into more impressions, and this is solely for their own benefit. Now, because the CPM doesn't properly reflect the quality, it tricks buyers into thinking that 2 vastly different products are the same, and that's what enables audience leakage. The true cost savings from buying non-premium inventory is probably closer to 20 to 30% rather than the 90% that we're seeing today. So if you fix this, and this problem with the impression and CPM not really reflecting the amount of attention and the dilution that it causes, the motivation for audience leakage stops overnight. So almost as important as why the CPM is bad are the reasons why focusing on time and attention are good. So when you're faced with people who don't think that time-based advertising is worth it, there's a couple reasons why you can give them that measuring and transacting on time spent is a smart way to think about your media. So the first reason is that time spent is a more effective way to measure the impact of an ad than traditional metrics. The time that somebody chooses to spend with an ad is an amazing way to measure its relevance and quality. So as Perry covered earlier, at Parsec, we optimize all of our campaigns to drive more time on screen. This means that we relentlessly tweak creative and media tactics to create advertising that people actually want to engage with. And we optimize our audience and targeting strategies to find people that are more like the ones that have spent time with the ads. So you can see here an example of how we're actually looking at audiences and specifying how long they want to spend with an ad and optimizing towards those audiences where people spend more time. So the second thing is that paying for media using time spent aligns the interests of advertisers, publishers, and the entire ad tech ecosystem to show consumers ads they're interested in. Using time spent, advertisers only have to pay for consumers who choose to spend time with their ads. Publishers are fairly compensated for the amount of value in the form of attention that they've delivered to advertisers. And ad tech companies like us are only paid when we create extra value in the form of connecting a consumer to an advertiser they're interested in. As you can see, the whole ecosystem is aligned to show consumers ads that they want to see, or nobody gets paid. So finally, 2 things that I actually may not want you to remember, but just to think about, mostly because they're prognostications, and I prefer not to have to answer a whole bunch of questions next year about how they were total malarkey. So 2 predictions for the future. The first is thanks Emily. The first one is the attention graph. So as it becomes more common to measure attention paid to content and advertising, we'll see more people begin to chart it out as an attention graph. This is the idea that your interaction with anything can be represented as an amount of intensity of attention over time. So a typical graph would look like this, and it would show that your intensity rises and falls as you're interested and turned off by a counterparty. The intensity of attention eventually drops enough that you become distracted and switch focus to something else. So your boss, your significant other, a new social network, your favorite website, and even a large media company are all counterparties competing to hold your attention. Those who can measure the intensity of your attention are at a distinct advantage because they can calibrate their messages to keep you engaged. In terms of digital media, there are two things that can impact your intensity of attention: the quality of the content and the quality of the user experience. When you think about all content in this light, both advertising and editorial, the importance of high-quality ads and formats becomes starkly obvious. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about is something that Lindsay and a couple of the other panelists hinted at earlier, and that's the CPC Marketplace, or what AdWords is built on today. So one of the biggest innovations in digital monetization was the CPC auction. A lot of the times you'll hear pundits attribute the efficiencies of search advertising to the fact that people are on Google and they're looking to click out another site. Well, those same people are on publisher sites looking to consume content, so which is pretty similar to consuming brand advertising. So why don't display auctions realize the same efficiencies? The reason is that CPC auctions have a quality score. The winner of a CPC auction isn't just the highest bidder. Rather, it's the bid that supplies the highest expected value to the marketplace. The way this is calculated is how much will you pay me for a click times what's the likelihood of that click actually happening, or the CPC bid times CTR. This is a simple and a beautiful auction because it promotes quality advertising by making it cheaper to run while still maximizing the marketplace's revenue. So our vision for time-based advertising is very similar. We think that the future will bring us cost per second auctions that are structured very similar to CPC auctions. And in this case, advertisers will submit a cost per second bid and then have those bids factored by how long the ads are predicted to be on screen. So this is the equivalent of a CTR for time-based ads. So the result is the same as a CPC auction. Better, more relevant advertising is promoted because it gets cheaper to run. This is exactly what Lindsay talked about earlier, and this is sort of a marketplace mechanic for allowing better advertising to get cheaper. So using a marketplace like this, branding can finally capture the same efficiency as direct response on digital. So I feel like we're on the precipice of something big. Digital media is threatened by a populist revolt that is ad blocking. Google and Facebook are taking 85% of incremental ad dollars. Agencies are under inscrutable client pressure to innovate, while publishers have generally done a bad job of monetizing traffic. Time-based advertising presents us with a real, tangible option to please brands, advertisers, publishers, and probably the most important of all, consumers. Change is difficult, and there's a natural resistance to revolutionary ideas like this, but it's our hope that we're an early chapter of a rise towards a better advertising experience built on the foundation of a better currency for everyone. So thanks everybody for coming to Buying Time, and it's my hope that this is just the beginning of the conversation.